Here is your full, long, emotional, YouTube-ready story, written in plain flowing paragraphs, no headings, rich emotional tone, and a smooth pace that fits a 40-minute narration style. The moment you hear what this single mom did on that stormy night, you'll understand why her life changed in a way she never imagined. So stay till the end, because this story carries a message that will stay with you long after it ends. And before we begin, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more real, heart-touching stories to you. Rain hammered the windshield like thousands of tiny fists as Alina gripped the steering wheel, trying to see through the blurry darkness. It had been a long day at work, the kind that made her bones ache. Her uniform still smelled faintly of the hospital cafeteria where she worked double shifts to support her 7-year-old son, Ryan. She had promised him she would be home before he fell asleep, but promises were hard to keep when life kept pulling her in different directions. Money was tight, bills were overdue, and exhaustion sat on her shoulders like a weight she could never put down. As her car crawled down the slippery road, her headlights caught something she almost missed, an old man struggling to walk with a cane, completely drenched, clothes clinging to his fragile frame. He didn't have an umbrella. He didn't have proper shoes. He looked like he was fighting the rain with nothing but a trembling determination. Alina drove past him for 2 seconds, just 2 seconds, before her conscience slammed the brakes harder than her foot ever could. She reversed slowly, rolled down her window, and called out, "Baba, please get in. Let me take you home. You'll get sick." The old man blinked at her in shock. His wrinkled hands trembled as he approached. No, I don't want to trouble you, Betty," he said, but the way he shivered told her he had no choice. "You're not troubling me," she said softly. "Please." He got in carefully, dripping water onto the seat. His breathing was uneven, and his eyes carried a sadness she couldn't name. For several minutes, silence filled the car, broken only by the sound of the rain. Then he spoke in a voice so gentle she had to lower the radio to hear him. "You have a kind heart," he said. "Not many people stop for an old man anymore." Alina smiled faintly. "I would hope someone would help my father if he were in your place." The man quietly directed her to a small, poorly lit neighborhood, a part of town she usually avoided. She noticed the walls had cracks, the roofs slanted, and the shops looked abandoned. When they stopped outside a tiny, broken-down house, he turned to her and said, "Thank you, Betty. What is your name?" "Alina." He held her hand for a moment, his palms cold but warm with sincerity. "May God bless you, Alina. You showed kindness when you had no reason to." She watched him slowly walk into his house, alone in the dark, and something about that image tugged at her heart. She drove home thinking about him long after the rain stopped. The next morning, Alina woke up to a message from her manager that her shift had been cancelled due to repairs at the cafeteria. It should have been good news, she needed the rest, but losing even one shift meant less money for rent. She sighed and decided to run errands anyway. As she stepped outside, she noticed a black luxury car parked near her building, far too expensive for anyone in her neighborhood. A well-dressed driver approached her politely. "Madam Alina." "Yes," she answered cautiously. "The chairman of Ramon Industries requests to meet you. He is waiting." Alina's heart skipped. Ramon Industries. One of the biggest companies in the city. She had no idea how someone like her could be connected to someone so important. But curiosity pushed her forward. She entered the car nervously, her hands clasped together. The car drove to a massive office building, shining with glass walls and security guards everywhere. When she was guided into a large private office, she froze. Sitting inside, dressed neatly and looking healthier than last night, was the same old man she had helped in the rain. He smiled warmly. "Assalamu alaikum, Betty." "Wa alaikum assalam," she whispered, stunned. You're the chairman." "Yes. My name is Abdul Rahman," he said. "Yesterday, I left a board meeting after an argument with my son. I walked home because I needed time to think, and age makes pride a foolish thing. But no matter how wealthy a man becomes, kindness is the one thing he cannot buy. You gave it freely." Alina stood speechless. He continued, "Sit, Betty. I want to tell you why I called you." She sat hesitantly. "I lost my wife years ago," he began. "Since then, my children became distant. They care more about the company than about people. Last night, I asked myself, who would help an old man alone in the rain? And then you appeared." Her eyes softened, emotion rising in her chest. I would like to offer you a stable job in my personal foundation. Better pay, flexible hours, and the chance to help others, because I can see that helping people is your nature. Alina covered her mouth, tears forming. Sir, I don't know what to say. Say yes, he smiled gently. Let me take you home from your struggles, just as you took me home through the storm. Her tears fell freely, the weight on her shoulders suddenly lighter than it had been in years. She accepted the job with trembling hands. But the old man wasn't done. I also want to meet your son, Ryan, he said. If you allow, I would like to support his education. Children deserve opportunities, not limitations. Alina broke down completely, her voice shaking. Thank you, I never expected. I know, he said softly. But that's the beauty of life. Sometimes, the kindness you give comes back to you in ways you cannot imagine. From that day on, Alina's life began to change. She worked in the foundation, helping families in crisis, distributing meals, supporting widows and orphans. Her work made her feel alive, valued, and respected. Her son adored the old man, who treated him like a grandson he never had. The broken house where he lived turned out to be a place he visited for memories, not his real home. He had simply gone there that night to remember his roots. Months passed, and Alina's life bloomed like a flower finally receiving sunlight. She was able to save money, pay her debts, and give her son a better future. But she never forgot the night when everything changed, not because of luck, but because of a choice she made when no one was watching. And every time she passed that road on a rainy evening, she whispered to herself, kindness is never wasted. It always finds a way back. So if you're listening to this story right now, remember, you never know whose life you can touch with one small act of compassion. And you never know how deeply it might change your own.